Hi guys, welcome to my very first YouTube video. This will be just kind of a very quick, not too far in depth look/review of the kind of an interesting footnote in consumer TV production, the EDTV. That stands for the Enhanced Definition TV. Specifically, as you can see, the Symphonic. Let's take a look here. WF20L6 EDTV. These TVs, if you guys don't know, were kind of in the interim between CRTs, cathode ray TVs, and the kind of mainstream production of HD LCD TVs. What makes these TVs interesting is that they are an LCD TV, an LCD panel, but their function and their top resolution is still standard definition, 480 progressive scan. So it was kind of, my understanding was it was a competitor to both the CRT and the LCD HD TVs, and kind of a budget option for people who didn't want to go one of those routes. So without further ado, let's take a look at this TV. These are kind of hard to come by. They were really only made for a couple of years, 2006, 2007 range. And I don't know how much they took off, but you do find them once in a while. I got this one at a pawn shop a couple years ago. They can be found very cheap, Craigslist, garage sale, because they're not, I guess, the most versatile TV for current needs. They don't do HD. And they're probably not going to display your older 240 interlaced games from like the Nintendo 64, as well as a CRT is going to. The nice thing about them though is they're very thin, as most LCDs are. They weigh basically nothing, and like I said, you can get them for a very cheap price. So yeah, let's take a look at the Symphonic here. So what you're seeing on the screen is one of my favorite PS2 games, Red Dead Revolver. This is an earlier PS2 game that does not support progressive scan, so you're seeing an output in 480 interlaced. What struck me when I first plugged this TV in, turned it on with the PS2, I've got my 7000 model via component inputs, which I'll show you guys in just a second. This TV does color really well. Very bright, vibrant colors, as you can see, and doesn't look washed out like a lot of older TVs do. These things are in excess of 10 years old now. On the side here, you can see the inputs. Obviously, my PS2 is hooked up via component right there. You've got the standard composite, which we won't get too far into that, but I don't recommend anybody using composite if they have another option. Speaking of another option other than component, you have S-Video below there, which is really, for things like the N64, the best option to hook up game systems. Basically, as most of you guys probably know, composite, you're just kind of barfing all the colors up on the screen at once. There's no color separation. Both S-Video and component will kind of separate the colors out and send them individually, red, green, and blue, to the television. It looks much better. It's a lot less blurry, and the colors are much more vibrant. The other thing that component does on this TV is it will give you progressive scan on certain games. And they do look much better in progressive scan, for the most part. An interlaced signal, like you're seeing on here, looks pretty good. But I'll show you guys in a little bit. God of War 2 and Resident Evil 4 are two PS2 games that do support progressive scan. And I've noticed Resident Evil 4 especially really looks great on this TV in that mode. So I wanted to kind of, I'm looking at my script here, you can tell I'm an amateur. I wanted to kind of go over just the general condition of this TV and This one specifically. So a lot of these you'll find pretty used and banged up. This one it's dirty, but for the most part, it's in pretty good shape. I did notice, and it may not come across in the video very well, you can kind of see there, you have some scratches on the screen, and, turn it back on here, one dead pixel up in the left-hand corner. You can see that little blue guy there. For this TV, that kind of stuff doesn't bother me. I mean, the dead pixels up in the far left, it just kind of disappears into your peripheral. And the scratches on the screen are unfortunately pretty par for the course for an LCD TV that's over 10 years old. Do they make this TV unusable or unplayable? Absolutely not. The interface is pretty good. You have a multitude of options. Specifically, I really like that you can go in and adjust kind of the standard picture options. On a lot of these EDTVs, they just don't have that. They might have a color temperature and a brightness, and that's it. And as somebody who likes to, calibrate their TVs for whatever I'm doing, the environment that they're in, I really appreciate that one and appreciate that in this TV here.